Well, hello and welcome and welcome and hello and welcome and hello and welcome. Bienvenidos a todos. Hello and welcome. Gracias para ti. Hello and welcome. Thank you for tuning in to this extremely special, uh, highly anticipated edition of Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more. Forgive the sunglasses. I'm not trying to look cool. I'm not Luke with stealth wealth investing in the early days before he took the mask off and got down here in the gutter with the rest of us U-turders. No, I just have a splitting headache and I didn't really want to do this show. But a lot of people are asking me about this stock. Should I get out? Is it hopeless? Is the accounting, broken beyond repair? I'm certainly no prognosticator, no, Punxsutawney Phil. I'm no Nostradamus, if you will. Perhaps I am. But what's up, Ben Cahan? The great Nauta Lurker is here, of course. I forgot to text him. I forgot to text myself, quite frankly. I didn't really know I was going to do this show. I typed up this little intro bit on YouTube or whatever it is, StreamYard about 3 or 4 days ago when I got back, or I guess it was just 2 days ago. And then I just didn't have time, and things have been very, very busy, a lot of stuff going on. So I hope everybody had a really nice holiday weekend and a good week so far, good short week. Of course, I got the short, fat legs. So a short week is just par for the course for me. So many things just short and fat on my body, getting shorter and fatter by the day, getting more hunched over, more rotund. I didn't do my weight check-in this week, guys. My apologies. Lo siento. 1,000 pardons. I beg your pardon. It just wasn't good stuff. Just had a lot of crap going on. I'm sure I've gained the weight back. I was down in OC, just sitting at a 5-star, just kind of vegetating by the pool, looking like a latter-day Jabba the Hutt. Snacking, just snacking on, poolside cabana service, like my life depended on it. The hummus trio, and then give me the burger, and then the flatbread. They have a bunch of like bad food, but they bring it down to you in those white plastic things. And it just feels weird, like you're eating out of a trough. But then again, I feel like a pig most of the time when I'm eating. So anyway, guys, it's Un Poco Mas, the show where we, ostensibly give you just a little bit more. In reality, we give you absolutely nothing, but you'll take it and like it. So NASDAQ up 1% today, Dow, everything kind of started off down and just like bled upward, if you will. Gold down a little bit, but gold's absolutely sky high at 3,600. I don't really think that's necessarily a sustainable price for gold. But then again, a lot of people didn't think Bitcoin was going to go to 6 figures. A lot of people thought it was going to be higher by now. But anyway, I'm not a huge crypto guy. I have a little bit of Bitcoin, some Ethereum. I'm just building out a little bit bigger position in XRP, but I'm not a, little Solana here and there. I got to dip a toe in the water, but I'm not it's not a huge part of my portfolio or anything, not even a major part, but I have a little bit there in the background just in case something takes off. I won't feel like such a big fat loser left out in the cold, another bridesmaid type situation, the old third wheel. Anyway, guys, hope everybody's doing well. Let's talk a little bit about SMCI, Supermicrocomputer. I am getting so pissed off at management. They came out and made another filing that said they don't have confidence in the internal accounting controls. They're weak up until as of the end of Q2, and essentially, like, whose responsibility is that? Obviously, at the end of the day, it's the CEO, Uncle Chuckie's responsibility. But in that pecking order, you got to go to the wigger, the CFO, and then their last CFO, he had been charged with a bunch of stuff by the SEC, and then they brought him back again into another. And then this guy, he's had some problems. Now they said he righted the ship after the last scandal, but then there's another scandal. The way I view this company in terms of the accounting shenanigans is they just grew far too large, far too fast. It was almost like they snapped their fingers and they went from a $2 billion a year company to like a $15 billion a year company, which are just completely, different leagues in terms of what you need with personnel. with compliance, with your legal, with your accounting, with the structure. It's not just the CFO's fault, but there has to be a structure in place. And they've obviously been doing things on an ad hoc shoestring, basis, like a lot of napkin math going on. I think a lot of pressure from the sales side. I think really what they need to do, I think, is revise their sales structure, revise their commission structure, revise how they do everything so that things are standardized. There's absolutely no question. And this is what, a year post Hindenburg. It was in December that they told us, that the Wigger was on his last days, on his way out, and they'd commenced a search for a new CFO. Now, the average time, according to AI, for a fairly major company to hire a CFO is 3 to 4 months from the time they start the search till that person is actually onboarded and working at the company. So, why this is now into 9-10 months since they acted, and I can only conclude at this point it's because, Uncle Chuckie is just dragging his feet, that this guy has, knows where the bodies are buried, perhaps has some, compromising photos of him and Aunt Sarah chopping down endangered trees and planting, grape varietals in their stead instead of saving the trees as he was supposed to do. Well, what do you guys think of the band Screaming Trees? Pretty good. Pretty good. Anyway, so I still believe this company is going to grow sales. Why is Wall Street, why is the smart money just not giving up on SMCI? They still own, 56% of the company. Why didn't they sell out, at that high when the stock came up recently, and hit whatever it was in the 60s? Or why didn't they sell out? There was another little run. So there's been multiple times they could have gone ahead and got out of their positions, and they've elected not to. Actually, the put call ratio also getting more favorable. You see the puts going down steadily while the calls, have increased a bit there and are holding steady of late. Now, what do you see going on in terms of the most recent filings? You see Vanguard actually increasing their position in the stock in Q2 when others were selling. A BlackRock, down 2%. Citadel, again, extremely influential on the short side, huge market maker, probably the most influential hedge fund there is. They increased their call by 11%. Then you have Morgan Fudley increasing their position by 11%. And you have Citadel on their put position. You see that here? They're minus 27% on the put. So if you kind of look at how this is ramping up, D.E. Shaw, the great D.E. Shaw, increased calls 30%, they're put only 13%. So everybody seems to be pushing this to the upside, seems to be sort of hedging their bets to the upside. Wells Fargo increased, they just filed on 8/14, they increased their position 32%. There's another 32%. JP Morgan increased their position 6%. Bank of America, they actually sold 36% of their position. Barclays increased their position by 0.01%. So they bought like one share. But my point is, institutions are not getting out of the stock. I think institutions recognize the reality that, you basically outkick the coverage in terms of legal and compliance. It's almost like if you're like, say you're the fastest sprinter in the world and you show up to the gold medal race and you're, a shoe-in to win the race, but you lose on some technicality, like you're late or you don't have the appropriate gear or something. It's just like basically shooting yourself in the foot over and over and over again. That's why I don't understand why Uncle Chuckie doesn't just take this function out of his hands, bring in somebody with so much stature, with so much gravitas that he's going to basically scare the hell out of anybody beneath him. So they're going to know that if they step 1 inch out of line, it's going to be the end of their career forever. And he's going to blacklist them, and he's going to basically, send them off to the island of misfit mascots or whatever, type of nonsense you want to talk about. But heavy shorting again. You see the short interest just taking off. It was all the way down there not long ago to 17%, back up to 20%. Now, what's interesting is since August 21st, like just basically the last couple of weeks, the short interest has completely taken off, but the shares on loan haven't. So that spread is getting, tighter and tighter and tighter, which again doesn't lead me to believe that the shorts are going to try to push this thing way back down for another huge round. They're just kind of, sniffing around the edge of the bleachers, if you will, not really getting in there. But taking a look at I'll take a look at the Zacks article in a minute, but taking a look at the chart, again, I felt like this slope was programmed in here, and this was just kind of a pump and dump situation, manufactured around the ER, or not the ER, excuse me. And then you work this down, and what do you see here? This isn't really selling off anymore. I mean, it closed higher today than it did yesterday. It closed basically almost the same place it did a couple days ago. You see this stock was flirting back here. So as long as it can maintain sort of this level here, 39, and not get back down into this, morass of 37, and, basically this quagmire down here, we want to stay with this quagmire up here. Diggity. People are saying, is it going to go back? Somebody who's asking me is, oh yeah, that was, I don't run into people very often, but actually in, Newport Beach, ran into a viewer. It happens occasionally. The chef at the restaurant, it's outstanding restaurant in Newport Beach. It's called Olea, OLEA, and with a viewer, a chef, they call him the macerator, David Massarelli, I forget, but he's actually the chef, I think one of the partners in the restaurant group. It's just amazing food, outstanding food at Olea in Newport Beach. I had the 22-ounce bone-in ribeye, which of course is why I don't want to check in on my weight, but he walked by the table and he just kind of whispered, like, un poco más, and I turned. I was like, yeah, that is you. I said, yeah, that is me. What do you know? Anyway, so that was kind of funny, but just great restaurant. Big shout out to Olea in Newport Beach. Anyway, yeah, they took great care of us. I have never had something agnolotti. It's like a pasta. It's kind of a pasta pouch. It's on like a ravioli mix. They do that in a brown butter sauce. Mwah, mwah. Could eat about 50 of those. If I wasn't such a big fat jerk, I would. Ever get an appetizer and just order another one? It's like there's only like 3 of them. Like you're with somebody else. What are you gonna do? Cut one in half? Why do they always give you just an odd number? A couple, I gotta eat 2, eat 1. Some portly. What the hell's going on here? Anyway, so great restaurant. If you guys are in the Newport Beach area, check it out. Un poco más viewer, Chef David, really kicking some ass down there. Anyway, I forget what I was talking about. Basically, the chart doesn't look that bad. They're working this thing down on an algo. It's just got to recover and get back into this sort of death channel it's been riding in for a long, long time. You see this back here. It loves this area. And the only thing you can, that this leads me to believe, when I don't see a short attack coming, and I don't see a hell of a lot of volume. This looks very orderly. See, it was sitting here at this 44 at the height of this, and it dumped to the bottom. It's trying to recover into this channel. And I think as it hits this area, it's going to go back up, because you have to look at the fundamental reality of what's happening with this company. They were basically perfectly positioned, and they caught lightning in a bottle. It was like they were almost right place, right time. Their core competency, their expertise applied so well to this, rapid AI data center adoption, that they were just, the company just grew like a weed. And it's one of those things where, like I said, they were just not ready. I think it would really, it's time Uncle Chuckie considered, bringing someone else in to be CEO, and he, takes the lead of chief technology officer, chairman of the board. Let him do what he does best, because he's obviously technologically a genius, but I feel, and it's like one of these things where he's leading these trade groups on cooling, and he's driving the standards on cooling, and SMCI is, pushing all of these, boundaries and trying to standardize everything. And they're very critical to the industry, but they can't get their own house in order. Charity starts at home. If you're going to be out, how can you be out standardizing, cooling and racks and AI data centers, and you're going to set the standard for this when you can't even keep your books straight? It's basics. It's 101. It's your accounting function. It shows the culture in their management is broken. They keep bringing back these same useless, corrupt turds and just turning them loose. And then they come back and it's like, okay, we're back in the same place we were a year ago. We don't have confidence in the numbers. And that doesn't make anybody want to invest. And I mean, just to put a finer point on it is like Uncle Chuckie, retail, naive, fat turds like myself saved your bacon. Nobody wanted to touch your stock with a 10-foot pole, but it was the buy the dip, look at the multiples, look at the AI trend, look at the reality, tune out this, constant negative narrative that the whole company's books are cooked. I don't think that the revenues are fake, the sales are fake. I don't think anybody's stealing. I don't think anybody's embezzling. I think it is incompetence. I think they're in over their head. And it's time they acknowledge that. And you bring in an interim CFO. It's not hard. You find a guy who just retired. You bring in a guy who was a financial minded CEO of another company. You bring in a big name and you give him a baseball bat, like, Bobby De Niro and that Al Capone movie, Untouchables, and you just let him go to town on somebody's melon. You're like, team. Like, who's at the end of the day, who's responsible? And how can you not give more information? You just create uncertainty. You create FUD. You create openings for the shorts. You're basically taking the retail shareholders that saved your company. The reason your company is still, not some being picked apart by private equity somewhere on the, cutting room floor of a, peep show, mopping the floors at a peep show. That's what you should be doing, Uncle Chuckie. And that's what you would be doing without us retail investors who came in and bought that dip and had confidence in what you're saying and believed you when you said you were going to bring in a new CFO, you were going to bring in the new general counsel. You were just retreading a bunch of turds. You can put a bunch of lipstick on a turd, but it still stinks. It still stinks, Uncle Chuckie. We're sick of your bullshit. You've had plenty of time to find and hire a CFO. And if there's corruption that people don't know about, it's got to be aired. You can't hang on to this, this team, this dream team. And I understand you have loyalty because these are the guys that took you from, a $1 billion company to a, $22 billion company in a very short period of time. But, loyalties and soft spots in your heart and, sentimentalities and, administrative professionals day. Cupid, draw back your bow and just shoot these guys. Just get them out of here. Clean house. If you feel bad about it, give them some stock on the way out the door. Give them some money. You have plenty of that. How do you find a great CFO with a great reputation? You pay them. You say, we're going to bring you in as an interim CFO for 1 year, clean this whole thing up. And what's your price? How many shares do you want? How many bottles of wine is it going to take? I think everybody's losing patience with these guys. But you see, it's like you see the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but it's just, is it leading you off a cliff? Or is it leading you to your real reward? Or is it leading you to, you ever hear the story how he met his reward? You guys ever digging in that hard caliche? Oh, just so frustrating. I was not expecting that filing, weak internal accounting controls. Can't have confidence in the numbers. What is this? This is like a bad movie. Trust me. Why should anybody trust you? That's where I'm getting. It's like, I totally trust him on the technology side, on liquid cooling. I mean, totally. But it's just, you're basically stabbing shareholders in the back by, continuing to keep the same people who have caused endless problems. I mean, this stock should be trading at a multiple of at least a time and a half forward sales. I mean, at least Forward sales is looking 30. I mean, even analysts 30 billion. You think the market cap of this company should be at least $45 billion minimum. Growing the top line at 50%, profitable, with supposedly a decent balance sheet, but who knows? It's all a crapshoot. It's like you're calling the Psychic Friends Network to do your books. Hello, is this Dionne Warwick's ghost? Yeah, we need help with our accounting. Okay, I can help you with that. 7. What 7? 7. You need to put more change in the info. Give you any more numbers. Anyway, guys. I'm just fed up because I think they have the best product at the best cost. I know Dell's doing very, very well. I personally don't think HP or Veritiv or whatever, I don't really think they can compete. I think SMCI is blazing the trail, setting the standard, but they just can't get out of their own way. I mean, it takes a certain amount of humility to admit you need to make drastic changes to instill confidence in, the market makers that you need to support you. And also, they're not going to be able to raise, they just did a money raise. And how do these institutions that are giving them, 750 million stuff, how do they not really dig into the books? And how do they write the check? How do they write the check if the books are that bad? I just don't get it. I think these auditors are, they're just not able to get on the same page with Uncle Chuckie. They're not able to make him understand that this is not optional, that proper accounting is not some kind of, you can't just keep looping around this and pretending that it's going to fix itself with these same turds at the helm, because these turds keep crashing the ship onto the rocks. And you're like, I know you were drunk and crashed the ship onto the rocks and it's an environmental disaster, but I like you. You're a good guy. Yeah, I like to play golf with you. I'm just going to keep you on. I'm just going to give you another ship and you're going to run that into the ground. Like, how many times do you need to do it? Bring someone from outside. And if you can't find an effective, interim CFO, bring in a law firm with accounting expertise to look over everybody's shoulder. Just give them a loaded musket. Just execute people. Just take them out behind one of the San Jose campus and just shoot them. I mean, not really. Obviously, I'm not advocating for that. I mean, proverbially, can them, shit can them, fire them, clean house. This is an event where you clean house everywhere. This Hindenturd thing, the resignation of Ernst & Young, they don't know how to clean house. Like, they don't know what spring cleaning is. You don't clean house by hiring the same old people that you had problems with years prior. It's like madness. It's in the definition of insanity. And I don't want to believe that Uncle Chuckie is insane because I have him, he has stewardship over my money, but your fiduciary duty, your primary duty is to the shareholders. It's not to the CFO. It's not to the lawyer. What do you like, his suits? What did he give you, a nice Christmas gift? This is a single malt, Uncle Chuckie. He's like, I told you I want a case of wine. I got you that too. It's like, I'll keep you on another year. I know you're, jamming us up with the SEC. Oh, everything's just pissing me off, guys. Got this headache. I'm fat. Aging poorly. Buying a lot of bad stocks, making a lot of bad decisions. Well, Contouri, no matter what they have, paragraphs, they promised us the new CFO, Daisy, last year. It doesn't take 9 months to find a qualified CFO, certainly not an interim CFO. You can go to a headhunting company. You can go and say, I want a high profile, tough as nails, CFO to come in and scare the hell out of everybody, scared straight, basically. And they're going to provide that individual. It's just, I don't know, for whatever reason, Charles hasn't pulled the trigger. There's nobody qualified you can find in a year. Give me a break. Does anybody believe this bullshit? I don't. I had a lot of confidence in Charles, early in the year. I still, like I said, I still do in doing what his job is, which is growing this company, growing sales. He's not an accountant, but you need the accountants there and you need to give them the power, the authority to do their job. And if people are making their job impossible, those people need to be fired immediately. End of story. Not, we're going to look around, interim, temporary, law firm, accounting firm, do what has to be done. Do what has to be done. If you have a cancer in the company, you cut it out. You don't, negotiate with it, reason. Can you do better next time? It's not even about the person or what they did. It's about market perception. It's about integrity. It's about, can the market trust you? And if the market can't trust you, the stock is going to just linger. Do you have to let it linger? Yes, you do. Such a fool for you, Uncle Chuckie. Had me wrapped around your finger. Do you have to? Do you have to? Do you have to? Oh, anyway. Is that cranberries? Strawberries? Pixies? I don't know. Takes a month of searching for each $10,000 of salary. Well, I mean, the CFO is probably going to make several $1,000,000 a year, so they're not going to search for 5 years. That's, I mean, okay, that's really not true, Ken. Because what kind of executive doesn't make 120,000? So if you're going to pay a guy 120,000, you have to search for that individual for a year. If you're going to pay a guy $1 million, you're going to search for 10 years. I mean, I've hired many people. I don't know where you got that, but okay. Yeah. Pay the price, Ken. Open up the wallet. I mean, Uncle Chuckie has billions of dollars worth of stock. The man's, the family's multi-billionaires. So I don't understand why they can't pay a CFO a couple of $1 million to get somebody good. Give him some stock. Dilute us. I'd rather be diluted for that salary. That's the one reason I would accept dilution and additional stock-based compensation. It's a new CFO. It's not just him. It's the new general counsel. It's all these guys, they retread. They brought in that one-woman committee who was supposed to be the bee's knees, the cat's pajamas, and she made these recommendations. They said, we're going to follow these recommendations, and, they haven't. So I just don't think they're being straight with shareholders. I don't think they're giving us enough information about what's going on with the books. Weak internal controls. What does that mean? You pee before you get to the urinal? Pee a little bit in your Depends? Weak internal controls. Fuck you. Anyway. What's up, Savage? How you doing, man? Not on vacation today. Savage. He's in a 5-star on that options premium. I'm feeding him, buying these stupid calls. Sending the Savage and family on vacation. Oh, man. Oh, SMCI is going to make bank. Sold 45 of 50. Took in a few bucks. Yeah. 2027. Okay. I would stay active on those. I think that could hit that. You just don't know, because I mean, they said they're going to go from 4 big, essentially hyperscalers to 6 to 8. So, this year. So that means they should be announcing anywhere between 2 and 4 huge new partnerships. Huge. It's going to be huge. Each one of those announcements theoretically should send the stock, skyward. If it's a big name, if it's a big deal. I mean, akin to doesn't really get any bigger than that Saudi deal, but a lot of that's theoretical, it's years and years of commitments. You really don't know what's going to happen. Things can change at a moment's notice. So, it's all basically announcements or really nothing until you recognize those revenues. You actually start building the thing. Yeah, again, you have to look at the fact that 99% of the company's function is building data centers. It's building the racks. It's like only 1% of it should be accounting. That should be the easy part. Anybody can do that. They're making it hard because they're corrupt and they're dishonest and they're doing shady stuff. I don't know how much. I don't know why. I don't know who's benefiting from it. I don't know why they can't stop it. The only thing I can think is like the CEO, he's weak. You say this has to be done or you're all fired, period. And then fire them all. Follow through. Clean house. Get someone with experience running a large financial organization. Bring in compliance people from banks. Run this thing as carefully as if it were a bank. Every penny accounted for. If it's not in your drawer at the drive-thru at the end of the night, it's on you. They're going to go park. They're going to come back around into the dining room. They're going to fill it up with a beverage of their choice. They're enjoying some brisk iced tea on the house. You didn't even charge them the 10 cent. That free water cup because you didn't want to ring up another 10 cents just for a water cup. And you didn't want to charge a credit card again for a water cup for 10 cents because it's going to cost your store 35 cents plus the percentage just for the processing fee. So you're going to end up losing 27 cents on that water cup. And then they're going to steal a bunch of shit. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about, guys. Dude, Ken, I don't know. Why doesn't he take advice from anybody? Let Jensen come in and fire the people. Give him a leather jacket on their way out the door. Say, hey, you're going to look sharp on the unemployment line, Wiggy. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Get the out. Get off our campus. Don't go to another campus. None of our campuses are going to be Wigger friendly. Anyway, so this show's been terrible. What else is new? Yeah. No, I know. Ken's on it. You're right. He has no idea what the hell he's doing. So he trusts the wrong people, and then they gain his confidence, and he doesn't know how to get rid of them because he's weak. That's the way I see it. Let Aunt Sarah fire these people. Let somebody fire them, for God's sake. Reno. Yeah. I hear you, Savage. It's been, it hasn't really been a bloody day for me. Amazon, a bunch of Amazon, Google recovered. Microsoft was funny after the earnings. It spiked, I think, up to like 560, and they came back down, touched 499, I think. I'm a strong buy Microsoft. That was a really strong buy Google at, $1.50. I don't know that I'm necessarily a strong buy after that run. Had a little $20 run there on the Chrome news. I still like Amazon these levels. That's, not a huge like Magnificent Seven guy. I just strong. I can't recommend Nvidia at these multiples. I just don't think these margins and stuff can last forever. And I really don't think, I don't think AI is going to revolutionize things the way it's going to like take over the entire world. I think it's very, very important, Let's see, guys. What do we got here? Thank you, sir. The great Nautilurker checking in, reminding me that I'm about to die. Drink some water. Well, hope you heal up, Savage. Yeah, I was hurt at work today. Did you sustain an injury? Well, I was initially hurt with his words. He reprimanded me and said some very cruel things to me. Then I fell down the stairs and my shoes fell off. Were you hurt? My head was all broken apart. Now, I hate that. Oh, man. Saul Rosenberg, the great Saul Rosenberg from Jerky Boys. That's not the kind of case I handle. Well, then can I sue you? He's like, who am I? I'm a lawyer. Who are my clients? Oh, I'm sorry. Um. Anyway, SMCI trades at a forward price sales. Brian, that's what is it? Should it be half price just because they can't get their fucking books in order? If all the sales are real, if they're growing the top line, how can a company that is growing the top line at 50% trade at that kind of price to sales discount? The answer, because they cannot get their shit together. They cannot get their books in order. They cannot get their house in order. Because Uncle Chuckie won't make the hard decisions that have to be made. When you're running a, $25 billion public company, it's not all about friends and loyalty. Your loyalty should be to the shareholders, period. Not some asshole you play poker with who has naked pictures of your little, tiny wang. Hey, a lot of us have tiny wangs. It's no big deal. You're never going to get those negatives. Just fire the guy already. A lot of us do gay stuff in college. It's not a big deal. It's not a crime. The Polaroids will set you free. Anyway, no, I don't know. I don't know if anybody's being blackmailed. It just doesn't make any sense. How do you keep the same people in place a year later who are responsible for, crashing the stock from 46? And I know the whole thing was bullshit, but you basically give them a foot in the door. You basically give them the ammo to shoot you and destroy your company by keeping these same guys around that have run afoul of the SEC and accounting and all, auditors and stuff. All the live long day. $40 juicy. Maybe guys, Savage likes to sell them options, guys. If you guys know anything about options, you're a lot better off selling options. Option sellers win 75-80% of the time. Most of the time, stocks move sideways. Most of the time, stocks don't go up or down that much. So, smart people sell options. Big fat jerks, buy options like me. But, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. The great Stephen Brown is here. They have a new partnership with Crusoe. They announced link Friday and then never put on X or issued a PR. Great. Wonderful. So they have a good PR, but the only PR anybody sees is we have weak internal accounting controls that can't be trusted. Yeah, Stephen, hire me. I will work for free. I have a ton of shares I need to protect. Put me out there talking about a company that's, growing the top line at 50%, not once, but year after year after year, that's accelerating growth as they get larger. I don't think any other public company has grown at this pace. Very, very few in history. Okay, guys, I got to run. Somebody's at the door, and I got to go to the bathroom. So anyway, I really appreciate you joining me on Un Poco Mas. I'll be back with another video a little bit later. Sorry I haven't seen you guys in so long, but just had a bunch of crap going on. And hope everybody's been well. Thanks so much for joining me. The great Travis Murphy is here. SMCI to your margins. It's exactly closer 80-85%. Yeah, I guess a lot of that would depend on the duration. Probably short term, yeah, but longer term, I've always read, sort of in the 70s, but that's okay. It's just, of course, it all depends on, what you're selling, how far you are out of the money. It just depends on what you do. But if it's 80-85, you might very well be right. But I'm sure whatever, data point you look at, they're going to have a different number. But the point is, if you want to consistently make money, you're going to want to be selling options and running some kind of wheel strategy. There's a bunch of different strategies you can run, but you definitely just don't want to be chasing these short-dated calls, just praying for a move. It happens once in a while, but the vast majority of the time, you're going to go to zero, and over time, you're going to lose a lot of money. So the great Savage of Wall Street is right again. You're right again, Savage. You're right again. If it wasn't for these darn savages, I would have gotten away with it too, you damn kids. Travis, thanks for joining me. The great Naughty Lurker, thank you. The great Princess J, thank you so much. The great QT, thank you. Would like to thank the great Alberto Berti Aviles, wherever he might be. And the rest of you guys, go find something to do. You can't hang out here. Don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. It's un poco mas, guys. Thanks so much. Peace. I'm out.